What is up everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Miles Rowe and in today's video we'll be looking at Robocop Rogue City. Now this game had been around since November of last year and I have tried to make a video to put together some ideas into sharing with you guys and finally managed to do so. And I think timing wise it's also quite good because the pricing of the game is now the lowest that it has ever been. At the point of recording this video, so if you guys want to give it a go, I think this is the opportunity that you are waiting for. Now, also kind of adding some fuel to the fire, I would like to share some of the views I had over the game and why I thought it's a brilliant single player game to own or to have in your library, and why I think it's one of those games that had definitely made the mark, at least on my collection and at least on my views of the Robocop franchise. Now, really important to mention, I was a 90s kid, so definitely grew up with Robocop, and I remember as a kid quite vividly I would run around the house and pretend I would have a pistol on my thigh, and I would try to kind of take it out and pretend I would shoot things around it. So it was definitely something that I grew up with, and it was a big part of the pop culture at the time. So I think for most people, having to really have a game that could put this fantasy or world into an actual playable character, it was by far mind-blowing. So this is definitely what happened to me, and this is also one of the reasons why I couldn't recommend this game enough to anyone to play it, at least if you had been a 90s kid and you'd remember these particular scenes. Now, also what I really liked about how they've designed and made this game was the fact that they've actually kept the original actors in some of the characters in the game, such as the officer Anne Lewis and Sergeant Warren. They are definitely main characters, and there are definitely some people that you want to see there and also want to keep inside the game. But also I love the fact that they've kept the original Robocop as well as the original voice, which is Peter Weller. Now, of course, none of this could have happened unless we would have lived in the current time we are. So with the Unreal Engine used to make the game, it just kind of gave a really good depth to the entire scenario, the entire gameplay, the entire world, the entire graphics. Everything kind of made more sense to come up with a really strong game right now, because past Robocop titles have not been very good, and if you guys have played them, they are really disappointing for the fan base. So having all these kind of things so far in motion are already a good mixture of what could be a really good Robocop video game. And I have to say, the team working behind Robocop Rogue City have pulled it off. They have pulled off a really good campaign, which it kind of combines a semi-open world where you'd move on the streets of Detroit. Obviously a bit limited, and in the sense of having just the same area that you revisit with different sections within the game, so different kind of quests that you have to do. But I have to say, it was really entertaining, really engaging, and it does keep you kind of informed throughout the game of knowing what's happening. And with that in mind, you also want to see what's going to happen next, and you just want to go over and over some of the missions just to kind of see if you have missed anything. So I thought this was really cool, and having to kind of go back and re-experience that whole Robocop world, and that the Detroit era that was seen in the late 80s, early 90s, it was pretty cool. And I have to say, I think by far one of the best remade movie games that I have seen in a while. Now, also one of the things that I had the massive joy to experience was the first person element, which when you kind of look at it back in the day, what you'd expect from a Robocop game was exactly this, the fact that you could see what the movie Robocop would portray, right? Like the green aim that would move around and find the target, and the fact that you could actually use your auto 9 and have that amazing recoil to it. And all that amazing sound that comes to it. So it was such a good experience, and the fact that you can actually play with the Auto 9 throughout the entire game, it's also amazing, because it's just to show that they really tried to portray the fact that you are Robocop and you are that additional team member that anyone can rely on, and can get on and do the missions as people couldn't. So it was a fantastic experience, and the overall gameplay, in my opinion, I think was top notch. I don't think anything was particularly missing, and especially after kind of looking at some other games made on the same engine, this had definitely exceeded some of people's expectations. Now, probably something that they could have worked a bit more on was the graphic element, because other than the main characters, some of the other characters are fairly linear, but if it goes without saying that everything else, it's absolutely fine. And I think with the destruction that the world has, the firepower that the Auto 9 has, and all the other 20 available weapons, everything kind of aligns and plays really well. So this is pretty much in a nutshell what the game is like. And I think looking at the options that you have when playing the game, they all have different endings, and all the endings, I have to say, they are as satisfying and as rewarding in their own way. And at the end of it, I think in the sense of the timeline of which the game kind of plays itself, it's somewhere between Robocop 1 and Robocop 2, which I still think also it's one of those peak moments for the Robocop franchise, because Robocop 1 is definitely the best Robocop movie that they've ever made. And having to place this game anywhere in between Robocop 1 and 2, it just gives itself a really strong statement that they've made with the game itself, because it has been kind of raising its expectations to Robocop 1. So this is all for today, guys. I mean, I can't really say more about how the game was. I'm sure that you have probably seen many other reviews, but this is kind of my view of, as I said, a 90s kid that have grown up with the Robocop movie, in the household, let's say. And this is how I kind of always wanted this game to look like. So in my opinion, was a fantastic video game, a game that it's definitely worth having in your library. And if you haven't purchased it already, as I said, now it's probably the best time to do it, because the price, it's really low, and at the end of the day, it's a fantastic single player experience that you should try. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys will give this a go, and if you do, please do let me know in the comment section down below how did you find the game. And as always, guys, looking forward to seeing you in the next video soon, and have a good one.